Peace, family. It's your brother Shaka Shakur, and I'm here with another segment of African Talk. I just want to build with you right quick. I mean, I'm really disturbed by what I'm seeing in South Africa. The attack of what they consider foreigners. These are other Africans who have come to South Africa, set up a life for themselves, and they're being accused by the South Africans of taking their jobs from them. These other Africans. So mobs of South Africans are moving through the streets, butchering, killing, murdering, you name it, other Africans in South Africa. And it's sad because I can remember as a young man, we was all about free Mandela, South Africa, and now South Africa, the place that we had saw as this liberated place of Africans, is now the center for this mass genocide of Africans, sort of like what we saw in Rwanda, back in the days, some years ago. But I think what bothers me the most is they're calling it xenophobia, and everybody's jumping on that word, xenophobia. So me, Mr. Dictionary man. Hold on a second. It says relating to a foreigner or foreigners. Okay, so they're saying that xenophobia, the fear of these foreigners, because they think they're taking their jobs, economics, etc. But what I don't hear anyone saying, anyone on either side saying, is like, yo, wait up, hold up. What about the white people who didn't take your jobs? They took Africa. Why is nobody speaking about them? How come they're not being attacked? Now, I did hear one brother today go in, and this brother, obviously, he's from, I think it's Nigerians, etc., but other Africans. He's from outside of South Africa, and he's in the continent. And he's speaking on this. He's saying, like, damn, we fought for your liberation. Now you killing us. Why don't you go after the white man? And then I'm bugging out because, like, foreigner, you in Africa, and these are other Africans, and you're saying they're foreigners to your side of Africa. And it's like so similar to what we're dealing with here. This is why we, the new Africans here, we can't afford to be tripping like this. So this is why all these leaders, all these lecturers need to really think about what you're saying when you up there lecturing. How you're turning camps against one another, because we're going to have a Rwanda. We're going to end up with a South Africa situation like what we see going on right now if we keep it up the way we move it. That's clear. And all the while, the De Beers, the Oppenheimers, the Kennedys, the Bushes, all these names, these blue bloods, all are reaping the money, going to the bank. And they say, look at them, look at them. Look how they act. They need us back in Africa because without us, Africa will kill itself. This is what's going on right now. The Boer in Africa, who are the European, the Dutch, the German, etc., they're saying, look at how these monkeys act. If we were there, this wouldn't be going on because we would have them in check. But look how they behave with a little freedom. And then that's going to slowly turn the tide against how we view Africa here and how our struggle here for liberation is viewed. Because they're going to say, well, why should look how they act. You're going to act the same way. And we are acting the same way. And I'm not talking about gangbanging. That's obvious. That's clear cut. Yo, we got to stop that. I'm talking about like you dudes that be set tripping or xenophobic if you want to have it because you treat each other like foreigners. Like you're not the same people. So what's going to happen is in a minute, we're going to have mobs of black Muslims fighting against mobs of black Kemet people or studiers of Kemet fighting against mobs of black traditional African Yoruba or Santeria or etc., Voodoo, whatever, versus mobs of scientifically or scientific-based belief blacks. I mean, it's going to get ridiculous. What really bothered me, I seen like a baby, couldn't be no more than like 4 or 5, with a big old hole in the head. It was still alive, but it's like gashed it, and you can see they hit it with a hammer or something, put a hole in the baby's head. Another scene was a little boy, 13 years old maybe, roped and being burned. So all of you tough talking people here, take a look at that. And then think about what you see, and then think about what you're talking about doing to other black people. You know, the guys you call Uncle Toms and all that, we need to kill them, we need to get rid of them, and all. Think about what you're saying, because that's the situation at hand. You know, it just really bothered me. I had to speak on it. I was like, what are we doing? Why can't we understand how we're being played out? Now, I'm about to go somewhere that I know is going to get me in a lot of trouble, but I got to do it. Today, Minister Farrakhan is giving a lecture to young black girls and women in general about the importance of the black woman, which is on point. And in one of the statements, he said that women all over the world are rising up against the oppression of men, which is also on point. I don't have no qualms with that. Because as a brother, I know for a fact that in our lack of tools or in our lack of understanding, in our searching for our manhood, we tend to trample on the sisters. And whether it's intentional or not, it's done. So it doesn't matter whether it's intentional or not. Whether you set out to trample on them or you just going through whatever you're going through, and in emotions you're moving from one woman to the next woman, it's still the same thing. At the end of the result, feelings are being hurt. So it is what it is. So I'm not here to make excuses for that. But I want to talk to my sisters. You know, to my sisters, like, black woman, seriously, we need you to stop doing what you're doing. Okay? Because it's not all the brothers. It's not just about the brothers need to respect the black woman. We need to do that too. But you sisters need to respect the brothers. You know, stop having children with these men and then lying to the babies and keeping facts away from the babies because the father's not there and you're upset with him. And because you're upset, you're keeping things away from this child or children that could potentially lead to the mental and spiritual harm of the children. I mean, like, for real. I don't care if he's a piece of dirt. That child didn't do anything. Tell the child the truth. Hey, your dad's so and so. He ain't here, but this is what happened between me and him. Let the child figure it out later. But stop keeping facts away because you damage more. You know, stop taking your children and turning them into your spouses. You know, seriously, black woman. If it didn't work out with that man, that little boy is not the man of the house. You don't turn to him and say, well, your father's not here, so you're the man of the house. No, he could be a man in the house, but he's not the man of the house. He could even learn how to be a good man when he gets his own home. But in your home, he is a man in the house or a young man in the house. He's not the man of the house. He is not your surrogate boyfriend. You know, your daughter is not your friend. She's your daughter. So if your relationships are going bad, don't dig into your children to try to escape the reality of the world. It's just like people that dig into the movement or dig into the religion because they're trying to escape the pain of the world. You're not doing that religion any service. You're not doing the movement any service. You're actually doing it a disservice because you're not genuine with why you're so invested. You're really running from yourself. So you're bringing a bad product into a good situation. So when you don't work out with the baby's father or the boyfriend or whatever the case, whatever you want to call it, the divorce from the husband or whatever, don't start turning to your female child and keeping her up under you all the time because you want somebody to love you. You want to feel that need. Because what's going to happen is you might just meet somebody one day. And then when you meet that new person, you're going to have to go through the process of this attachment from you and your child. But now what's going to happen? You might be able to do it because you got somebody to fill that void. But the child ain't going to understand that. The child is going to be like, wait a minute, it's been me and you. We deuces. What's up? You know, we roll together. Now you got him? And then it's going to start a vicious cycle of vendetta and vindictive manipulation in order to get that person out of the picture so the child can be back to the duo that the child is used to. You know? And it is... I read an article called Emotional Incest, and that's what that is. It's emotional incest. And it's not a sexual incest. Incest applying to the fact that it is an inappropriate behavior and an inappropriate relationship. It could cause damage. Men do it too. Men or single fathers tend to clutch onto their children or be overprotective of their young female daughters because of things they may have done when they were young. Either way, it's not good. We got to stop that. We already broken as it is. So let's not break it any further. Okay? We got to stop that. Sisters, stop talking to your man any old way. Some of you talk to your man like he's a child. And some of you, he act like a child, but he's not a child. So even if he may act like what you consider to be a child, you should not talk to him that way. Because now all you're going to produce is a rebellious soul. Nobody want to hear that. Nobody going to listen to somebody talking down to them. And men, we do the same thing. Stop talking to your woman like that. You get upset with her, don't call no bitch and all that in the street. No, don't do that. Don't do that. Don't even do it in the house. Don't do it. Can't talk to each other with a decent amount of respect? Then don't talk. Find a third party to talk to and try to work it out with a mediator. I'm guilty of it too. I might not have gotten to all the bitch in the street, but trust me, I've been there. I had the arguments in the street, the blow-ups in the house, the mistreatment of women. I done did it all, man. And I'm telling you from my own experience, we got to do better. Sisters, stop acting like men don't have feelings. We got feelings too. And dudes, brothers, stop acting like you ain't got no feelings. You ain't that tough. I heard a sister say, yeah, well, a brother could just move on with his life. A lot of times we move on because we're looking for love too. So if we don't get it from one source, we're going to find somebody else. We're going to keep doing this. I'm a victim of that. I'm quite sure there's millions out there, but I'm brave enough to say it. I'm a victim of that because I was searching for family. And in searching for family, I'm creating families. Now, I don't have children all over the planet, but I do have more than one child. I'm more than one child by more than one woman. And I had to really check myself like, whoa, what am I doing? What I'm doing is I'm creating family because I didn't have a family. And family for the Homo sapien, the human being, family or connectiveness in a collective is a natural thing. It's a must. So we're going to look for it any way we can. And then us being Africans, new Africans in this system, trying to hold it, this system or shitstem, we've been corrupted and broken so badly that we just clinging on to anything. So you get with a sister, you have a child, that doesn't work, so you move on. And you try to start again. But we can't keep starting and starting. Because eventually, look at the mess. Sisters, you too. Like you can't do this. Don't take that man in without telling him, what about your other children? If he ain't really checking for them, you help him check for them. And y'all can start a new family. I mean, you fall in love and it's genuine, go for it. But wait a minute. Bro, don't you have a past? Sis, don't you have a past? Mend that past first. Don't just move on because you're going to make the other children feel like they're not wanted. Some of you seen the pictures on Facebook. See, I'm being transparent here. You've seen the pictures on Facebook with my beautiful daughters. I'm in the process of trying to repair the damage that's been caused over years. So with that, I'm trying to teach a lesson here. I'm not here to point fingers, but I'm just telling you, please do better. Black woman, respect your black man. Black man, respect your black woman. Get it right. But we ain't going to sit here and I'm not going to be singing the one side without talking about what's going on both sides. And I know sisters ain't going to like this, but it's real. I know they're going to be like, but it's real. Stop the madness. Stop accusing men of things. Stop setting men up because you don't like him no more. So you go to child support and use it as a weapon. Stop that. That system is not a weapon for either side to use against each other. And unfortunately, it's being taught that way. Like, girl, look, just get in his pockets. What are we creating? No, don't get in his pockets. Get in his mind and make him a better man. God damn it, you want to help him. That's how you help him. You don't go in his pockets and take all his money. That's not going to help the child. They buy some material, but your child still ain't got a father. And now you got not every brother going to be like, well, I'm still going to do for my kid. Most brothers is like, F that, and they go on. Because that's the easy way out. So the sister, that dude in that black robe, or that woman in that black robe, I don't care what color they are, they're not out, they're not in your genuine interest. Now, again, I'm not talking about deadbeat. That even they got there's a hope for them too somewhere. I don't know how to get there. I'm not talking about that. So don't in your mind start justifying it with the bad syndrome. I'm talking about people that know goddamn well the only reason you in child support court is because you mad. If you got mad at her, or she got mad at you, or you were trying to get over on her, or she was trying to get over on you, and now y'all in the middle of that courtroom. Y'all got to stop that. Stop putting that system in between your relationship because you don't have the tools to work it out. You know, let's stop the blaming and the name game. Take responsibility. It's a difference between blame and responsibility. Responsibility is holding yourself accountable for something and then correcting it. Blame is not holding yourself accountable and pointing the finger. So I'm not here to blame nobody. I'm taking accountability for what I did in my life. And I'm trying, not trying, I don't like that word. I'm in the process of correcting my wrongs. Not for anyone else, but for me. You know, there are some people who will never let you get out of where you were. There are some people who won't talk about where they were out of fear of ridicule. I don't fear no one but God. So, whatever. And I get better by sharing where I was weak. You know, I was weak at one point. Brothers, sisters, just keep it real with one another, man. And it's not, we're not going to get rid of the oppression of women by men unless we focus on the originator of that mentality of oppression against women, men, children, plants, animals, atmosphere, water, etc. And the author of that oppression is and always will be the white man, i.e., the European male. Let's be clear about that. And until we focus on the roots of it, we will never get rid of the outcomes. Women are oppressed, particularly women of color, are oppressed because your race is oppressed. And your man oppresses you because he is a victim of racial oppression. And you, unfortunately, become the weaker target. Our children are abused because the abuser is abused. And the abuser is abused by a greater force, which is Euro-dominated, male-generated white supremacy. Why are y'all so scared to say that? No, we cannot all get along until we get it right. Simple. So I'm not privy to Minister Farrakhan's speech today because obviously I'm not there. But I hope that the minister, and I'm quite sure he will, touches on the bigger picture. You know, because some of y'all walk out there like, yeah, I told him that. And I'm not writing no pun intended on Brother Steve Harvey. I read his books. I think he's kind of fair with it. But I ain't here to write that kind of book. I'm not writing a book where we're going to just talk about what brothers do to sisters. And, no. And he writes back and forth. So, again, I'm not shooting at that brother. But you'll know what I'm saying. Those kind of books that big up the plight of the black woman and never talk about the black man. Or focuses on what the black man does. Because we ain't going to get it right until our sisters are right. I do agree with that. But I also agree with the most honorable Elijah Muhammad when he said a woman's cunningness is equal, if not greater, than a man's brute strength. That's real. I don't believe in woman's independence. I don't believe in black man. Let me rhyme. I don't believe in black woman independence. I don't believe in black male independence. I don't believe in black child independence. I believe in black woman, black man, and black child interdependence. Because I understand the village concept. I'm an African. I know that anything that talks about separation and isolation is devastation to my nation. So I'm not going to ever condone that. Ever, never. Women need to come into their own, black women, and black men need to come into their own. But in this situation, the new African situation, we need to do it together and in constant communication as we develop. One can't develop this way, one develop that way. See, because white supremacy is tricky. It'll have you blaming everybody but them. It'll have you putting responsibility on everybody but them. You talk about xenophobia. Africa didn't have borders until the European came over there, the white male. Until the treaties were written and Africa was carved up. I think it's the Versailles Treaty, if I'm not mistaken. And if I'm wrong, I stand corrected. But I believe, if memory serves correct, it was the Versailles Treaty that chopped up Africa into all these borders. Before, you were only separated by nations. Zululand, Hausa land, Twa land, etc., etc., etc. Now, South Africa. And the people from North Africa are now foreigners in their own land. And what you looking at? New African, you the same way. I'm from Brooklyn, yo. I'm from the Bronx, son. I'm from Harlem, done. You all on stolen land. I'm from South Chicago, West Side, East Side, LA, Compton. I mean, come on, stop it. What's going on? Same mentality. Who taught you that? Like Malcolm said, who taught you to hate you? We gotta really get together and stop this, man. Change this mentality. Don't be afraid to say we made mistakes. It's okay. Shaka Shakur made a ton of mistakes. And you know what? I'm gonna make a lot more mistakes as I try to get it right. Hopefully, I pray that my mistakes in the future will be less. And if they happen, they will be less damaging and I will have the ability to correct them. There are people in my past who are never gonna get with, and I'm talking about my recent past, who are never going to get behind the idea of me changing because me being effed up makes them who they are. People like to stand on top of stuff. Short people can't see out of tall windows unless they stand on a table. So some people are like spiritually short and they trying to see, what's above. They can't. So they stand on the backs of those who fall so that they can feel bigger. So the minute you stand up, they ain't got nothing to stand on and then they're going to realize how short they are. So they keep you down so they can stand on your back. That's all right. We're going to do what we got to do, family. South Africa, stop it. Black people, period, let's stop it. And to all my brothers, I'm not trying to be like sexist or anything. And maybe I feel like I would like to see more sisters step up and be, where's that sister soldier? Where are those sisters who are speaking to the masses and leading the way, speaking out? I want some sisters out there doing lectures, broadly. And I ain't talking about just get out there and start complaining about the black man. I'm talking about get out there and take the beat or not the Yah Santawas of this generation. So I don't have to keep saying the brothers. And then the sisters be like, what about the sisters? Step up. Where is the female counterpart to a lot of these male lecturers? If you're out there, come on out. Speak up so we can know who you are. Because I want to see that balance. That's why in the male-dominated lecture circuit or information circuit, there's all this clashing going on because egos, like our brother Dr. Umar Johnson said, I agree. Our ego has been so damaged as a black man that we go crazy when we get a little bit of power because we're so busy trying to show that we're men. So we overdo it. We're extra with it. So we need that balance. But don't fall into that trap, y'all, of blaming one another because you see what's going on over there? That's what happens when white supremacy gets in here. You start looking at your brother and sister like your enemy. We're hurt people. But being hurt people, we have a tendency to hurt our people even further. So we have to stop that. Not another day of disunity. We don't want independence. We want interdependence amongst the African. Self-determination for us means the ability to choose what we feel is right. And this independent mentality of America does not work. It doesn't work, it ain't gonna work. So we have to learn to be dependent on one another. Intra-dependent. I'm saying intra-dependent on one another. Learn to love each other. When I say love, it's not just this bland, blah feeling. I'm talking about LOVE. L.O.V.E. Meaning lifting our vision eternally. That's what love is. If someone says they love you, they should be lifting your vision of yourself and the world eternally. And if we love ourselves, we should be lifting our collective vision of ourselves higher. How you love me and everything out your mouth is putting me down. You don't love me. Or doubting me, or doubting my ability to do. You don't love me. And if I'm talking about that about my people, I don't love my people. And if I'm talking like that about myself, I don't love myself. And next is self. Self is what? That's S.E.L.F. The spiritually enlightened life force that flows through us. Some call it chi, inertia, feng shui, all these funny words. Self. So how can I love self if I don't know self? If I don't see self? And how do I see self? I see self by understanding that self in me, the black man, is supreme. And when I look at you, I'll see self. I'll see that spiritually enlightened life force because I love you. I want to lift the vision of that which looks like me to the highest heights. So when that pride I have in myself, when I see you, I'll see that same pride and I'll be able to transmit that pride from me to you and it'll click because we all thinking like that or we're moving in that direction. But as long as we keep talking about what we can't do and how we don't love each other and just keep the negative energy, it's like a spell. Every time you speak it, you bring it to life. I don't want to talk to people that black people can't do that. I don't want to hear that talk no more. I don't want to talk like that. Don't talk like that to me. Go talk to somebody else. Seriously. I'm at the point where I'm going to start disrespecting people. Like telling you straight, shut up. Don't come to me and tell me what black people can't do. Now, you want to talk about what we are doing that might not be right and how we need to change it. I'm with that. But don't come with the cliche talk. Don't cast that devil's spell, that verbal spell of condemnation over my people. Because that is not how we behave. That is how we have been trained to behave. And just because you're too scared to talk about the white man, as my big brother Khalid would say, you're too scared to talk about the devil. Not a devil, but the devil. I'm not scared to talk about Satan and his allies. Satan being the biggest of the devils. And the devil being his little minion. Satan's minions, the devils who dwell in devilishment. I'm clear. There are some of you who be going in hard and be right, and then quickly you'll say, I'm not racist though. You don't have the power to be racist. We know you're not racist. You're expressing facts. Period. The European race has done a lot of dirt to itself and others. So if we call it out, we call it out. So what? Don't try to counter it. Well, what about what you do to yourself? I don't want to hear that. We're not talking about that. I got a right to talk about where it came from whenever I want to. I don't always have to throw myself on a chopping block in order to talk about my oppressor. That there is some slave mentality. That's some real conditioning. You can't criticize your oppression unless you criticize yourself. But you are a product of your oppression. So in criticizing your oppression, you are in turn criticizing yourself. And in recognizing the wrong in your oppression, you are in turn liberating yourself from the wrong that you have inflicted on yourself because of your oppression. Don't get caught in the psychological web. When you speak about white people, you are speaking about a portion of Europeans, mostly male, who dominate the system and in turn teach their fellow Europeans this mentality in order to maintain a status quo. White supremacy is geared to keep Europeans thinking that they have privilege over all other people so that a few of them can maintain their status. Now, if you have a European friend who cannot understand that, tough, you need a new friend. You got a European mate who can't understand, and I ain't talking about English mate, I'm talking about mate like in spouse, who can't understand the plight of black people, then that's your personal problem. Do not come out here to other black people and try to make us seem like we're wrong for pointing out what's going on because you got to go home tonight and sleep with Amy, and Amy's not trying to feel you because you didn't keep it real with her in the first place, or you got to sleep with Steve and you didn't keep it real with him. So now you can't go home and say things, so you feeling guilty because you're torn between two worlds. So you try to tell me, Shaka Shakur, not to say nothing about the situation that faces my people. You must be crazy. I'm going to speak, and you're going to have to deal with it. I didn't put myself in that position. You did. Saying simple. I would love for all of us to just get along. We can't. In my family, in my nuclear family, my personal family, we can't even all get along without the truth. So what makes you think that as a people, a human people, we're going to get along all of a sudden? It's not real. It's not going to happen. Truth clears the way. You know, the truth sets you free. Well, truth clears the way so that progress can take place. And until we tell the truth about it freely, like Malcolm said, speak freely. Make it plain. I ain't going to beat around the bush, make it all abstract. White supremacy has corrupted the world. It has oppressed everything from the black man to water. You know, you sell black men across auction block, now water's in the store. Everything has been oppressed by white supremacy, as I said earlier. So what I'm saying is this. Let me wrap it up. South Africa, stop. We are all Africans. Not you all. We are all Africans. And you are setting an example that our enemies will use and crush us. New Africans, pay attention to South Africa, because that's where we are headed if we don't stop this fratricide amongst ourselves, this tribalism amongst ourselves, this extreme tribalism. Black woman, we love you, but you got to work with us because we are all damaged. It's not you versus us, it's us versus them. Black man, we got to do better. We got to represent, we got to speak up. But we got to keep it real with ourselves. And we got to stop our madness. Stop trying to create, or stop looking for something that you need to stop and create. And if you have, I'm talking about family, and if you have a family and it don't work out with the baby moms, don't leave your child behind. Don't disrespect that woman, because if she was good enough to have a baby, she's good enough to still respect, even if she don't respect herself. Black woman, same to you. Stop disrespecting that black man. You know, stop attaching yourself to the child because you're destroying the child. And black couples, respect one another. Study your culture as a people. We have to study our culture so we don't have these problems, because we would always be focused on the real enemy and we would not inadvertently attack one another. It's your brother Shaka Shakur. You know, I'm just sharing some thoughts. I might have rambled a little bit, and if so, I'm sorry. But if anything I said, you know, can help you, you know, feel free to let me know whether you're getting anything from these things or not. All right? Peace. One love, one people, free to land.
Who taught you, please, who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? So much so that you don't want to be around each other. No, before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?